So here's the deal. I was in Geneva last year, and I was getting ready to leave to go traveling. So I was looking for a travel guitar, something to take with me that would be easy to carry, something small. And I was planning on trying to secure a Taylor mini guitar. So I was poking around Geneva, walking through the back streets in the old city and elsewhere, and I just stumbled across this guitar shop that had some Taylor guitars in the window. So I went in to see what he had. And I walked in, and the guy who worked there, he was wearing a white lab coat, and which I thought was kind of odd. And I asked him if he had any Taylor mini guitars. He said no. So I poked around a little bit. He had some nice harp guitars in there I was messing with, and finally I said, well, did he have any small guitars, any travel guitars? He said no. So I thanked him, and I was heading out, and just as I was opening the door to leave, he said, well, I do have one. And so he instructed me to follow him to the back room, and he reached up on this top shelf and brought down this tiny little guitar. And he just put it in my hands and walked away. And so I sat there and played it for 30, 40 minutes, and it was amazing. I couldn't put it down. It had this great sound to it, this great tone, and something about it. There was something magical about it. I don't know what it was. It just had this presence, and I wasn't sure what it was, but I was curious about its provenance and things like that. So I sat there and played it, and when I was done, I asked him what the price was, and of course it was way more than I could pay, which I expected. And so I thanked him and left, and for the next 2 days this guitar haunted me. I dreamed about it, and it was remarkable the power it had over me, and I couldn't imagine anybody else having this guitar. So I went back and I played it again for about 40 minutes, and the same thing happened. I couldn't put it down. I asked him if he could do any better on the price, and he was firm. He said he couldn't. And I got frustrated, and I left again. And then the same thing happened. I couldn't stop thinking about it. So I came in the next day, and I was going to put a deposit down on it because I had to have this thing. And as soon as I walked in, he was standing there with this little grin on his face, like he was expecting me. And I was kind of figuring I was about to make a deal with the devil. And so I made arrangements. I put a deposit down, and I came back the following day and paid it off and took it home. And this is it. It's a small little guitar. It's a parlor guitar. It has no marks of who made it, and he himself, who sold it to me, couldn't tell me who made it. There is a sticker inside that says C. Bruno, which is Charles Bruno, who did make some guitars, but he also distributed many guitars from other makers. The guitars he made, he always either marked it up here or on the back, or had some marking inside, and there's no indication anywhere of who made this guitar. It's supposedly 1890s, could be a little earlier, according to the guy I got it from. I think it might be a little more recent, but I don't know for sure. It has a spruce top, Brazilian rosewood sides and back, ebony fretboard, ebony bridge, ivory tuners. Has this lovely, I guess what they call an ice cream cone heel, which was very popular in 19th century guitars, and this strange V shape to the neck. Everything is original except for the ebony bridge pins, which are old, but they're not as old as everything else. And it just has a wonderful sound to it. So yeah, it's really nice. I'm glad that it's in my possession at this point. I did take it traveling. I had a friend who set up a show for me in Tangier in Morocco, and I did the show, and I was in this apartment in the old city on a top floor with rooftop access, and I had a week there. So during the evenings, since I couldn't do it during the day, it was much too noisy in the old city, but in the evenings it was a bit quieter, and I had this digital recorder with me, and I recorded all the songs on the new record. The room I was recording it in had these Moroccan tiles all around the room, so the sound bounced off the tiles, and it was just a very warm sound. It had this nice ring to it.